Today's episode of the More You Know podcast is brought to you by CrowdQuestion, a brand new social communication platform focused on connecting crowds to bring everyone closer to their community, as well as enhancing any occasion. Rather than being a social media platform focused on content and advertising, they're focused on communication and connection. Learn more about the platform and download the app free at crowdquestion.com.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
Today's
More
You
No
podcast.
Today I want to elaborate on some keys to cooperation that will improve your human relations that are discussed in Million Dollar Habits by Robert J. Ringer. Being able to cooperate with others and mastering human relations is really vital towards any pursuit. It's very hard to do anything alone, and if people dislike you, or if you struggle working with others, it's going to be very difficult to find success in life. When you master human relations, it leads to a triple win. You make others feel better, you feel better, and directly or indirectly, your goodwill toward others will come back to you with interest somewhere down the life road. And with this being said, many qualities and actions that surround human relations are tied to effective communication. So in order to achieve successful human relations, you must be a successful communicator. And with this being said, I now want to go through what Robert believed is the most important traits that must become habits in order to gain cooperation and goodwill of others. In no way is this a complete list of traits, but by becoming familiar with these traits, it will likely shed light on other traits that weren't listed that you should apply in your life. And the most important thing to understand as I discuss these traits is that it should motivate you to improve your performance when it comes to human relations. And so I'm now going to go through Robert's list of traits, starting with the first one being brevity. In both your personal and professional pursuits, it's wise to understand that the power of the understatement is enormous. What I mean by this is that if something's positive, it will be much better received if it's presented in a brief manner, and if it's a negative, it will be less painful if it isn't dragged out. When communicating, you should really focus on not wasting time. You must understand that having simple, clear communication is the best way to communicate with people. From here we reach the next trait, which is compassion. Compassion involves nothing more than putting yourself in the other person's shoes and trying to feel what they're experiencing. As with everything in life, you'll reap just about what you sow when it comes to compassion. And the least you'll gain from becoming compassionate is a heightened sense of self-esteem, but it's more likely you'll reap additional rewards beyond that, both directly and indirectly. And what's most important to understand is the person who demonstrates the most compassion towards others is the person who is destined to reap the most compassion from others. Making compassion a habit can entirely transform your life. The next trait is decisiveness. Similar to brevity, being decisive with your communication is one of the best ways of going about communicating. Understand that a well-adjusted individual must be able to use discretion when they're communicating with others in certain situations. There will be times where you're discussing things that will be challenging to share with others, and things that they might be upset about or not approve of, and because of this you must use the proper discretion to get your point across. Then the next trait is genuineness. Genuineness lies in cultivating the habit of consciously trying to be your true self at all times. From here, the following trait is graciousness, and there's very few things that pay greater dividends in human relations than graciousness. And it's very simple to be kind and gracious. It's ultimately taking the time to show gratitude towards someone or something, as well as not resorting to pettiness in life. Then the next trait is refinement, and what this means is that you should work continually to improve your human relations and how you communicate. From here, the next trait is responsibility. You must be responsible for yourself, your actions, as well as things going on around you. If not, it will get in the way of your communication and human relations. The next trait is self-sufficiency, which is something that evokes admiration from others. Lack of self-sufficiency is also something that people lack appreciation of. Nobody likes a mooch, whether it be with effort, finances, or something else. Following this, the next trait is tactfulness. One of the best things you can do to become more tactful is removing negative words and phrases from your vocabulary. Good human relations requires that you apply tact to your communication. Then the next trait is tolerance, and this is one of the most difficult human relations to master. This is because it requires looking beyond your own beliefs and perceptions, as well as respecting another person's right to embrace different beliefs and perceptions. You don't have to agree with the other person, but you shouldn't disrespect them. And finally, the last trait is value for value, which is really the foundation for all harmonious human relationships. Value for value is synonymous with a win-win situation. And in order to create value for value, first, if you want more, make yourself worth more. And there's 3 rules that go along with value for value that you must understand. The first is, if you want more, make yourself worth more. Second, concentrate on quality and service first, and profit will follow as a natural result. Finally, third, always give more than you expect to get in return. Human relations and being able to communicate properly is so vital towards any pursuit, and by understanding these traits and then working to apply these traits will provide immense benefit in your life. Along with that, it will also allow you to make a tremendous impact in countless people's lives and craft a life of significance.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
The
More
You
No
Podcast.